Hey guys, what's up? It's Finch here. Today we're going to be discussing the SSOU Viability Rankings update. We had a bit of a mini update where we discussed Pokemon in the S ranks and the A ranks. Huge shakeups. We got Pokemon rising to S rank, we got Pokemon falling down, we got Pokemon going up. All of this and more, so stay tuned. This is the video on the SSU metagame. What's popping, what's dropping, all that. So let's get on into it. First off, we got Dragopo moving up from A+, finally to S, moving on up in the world. That's what we like to see. Unsurprisingly, a Pokemon that fills all the roles. You get that checklist out, right? You got Revenge Killer, yup. Breaker, yup. Pivot, yup. Status, yup. Even can sit Dragon Dance up in your face. Dragapult does it all. It is that 1 in a million type Pokemon that if you need to fulfill any offensive role, odds are it can potentially do it for your team. That, coupled with the fact that it has unmatched speed and coverage and decent attacking stats, good typing, really, you name it, Dragapult does it. And yeah, I know sometimes the jack of all, master of none trade Pokemon, type of those Pokemon, they don't actually fit onto a lot of teams. They kind of find themselves pedestrian, good at a lot of things but not great at any, like Mew, for example, a Pokemon that is not really OU right now at all, unfortunately. But Dragapult is different. Dragapult hits different, in a sense that it actually does have some categories that it really thrives in. While it doesn't have the highest special attack by nature, Draco Meteor and Shadow Ball coming off of that speed makes it so much more threatening. Offensive counterplay is limited. It forces you to use a limited pool of Pokemon, which is very effective. That, coupled with the fact that it has good coverage, Flamethrower, you even see Hydro Pump for Heatran and Landorus T1 shotting is impressive. U-turn to help pivot out, chip down, things like Blissey can come in handy as well. Moreover, on top of all that, if you don't want to run the Breaker set, you could be a hit and run type. You could run the Thunder Wave or Wisp set with U-turn and Hex, and that makes it very scary in the later game, especially now it could change moves. Dragon Dart to Blissey into Volcarona, very, very threatening Pokemon. When in doubt, you're going to want to come prepared for Dragopo, and when in doubt, if you're not needing something like Zera Aura for the electric community and checking Twinitus Therian, or Tapu Koko for the terrain, Dragapult's going to be your guy on balance and bulky offensive teams, and that role is huge. It arguably is one of the largest roles in the metagame in any archetype period, so that's pretty impressive as is. Next up, we got Slowking, a Pokemon that went from UU to UU to UU to UU to NU to RU to RU, and now it's an S-rank Pokemon in OU. All those generations flirting with mediocrity, fringe viability in OU, and all of a sudden, it's the top dog. It's one of the best 3 to 5 Pokemon in the metagame. How? Why? What? Where? Teleport. 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 Teleport has made Slowking and Slowbro to a lesser extent insanely effective options in the OU metagame, surpassing virtually every other bulky water type in existence, ones that oftentimes surpass them in viability, relatively speaking, over the generations. That is crazy. This jump is unprecedented. It's one of the biggest surprise, the biggest turnaround in the history of competitive Pokemon overused. It's a major storyline, so let's talk about it. Slowking is able to wall dozens of Pokemon. Heatran, Nidoking, Tapu Lele, able to do well against your Shifu Rapid, stand up to Twinitus Therian, tank special attacks, even things like Calm Mind, Clefable. You come and you stomach that +1 Moonblast, easy. Get in, get out with Teleport, bring in Bisharp, Kartana, etc. Pokemon that can't switch in. Enabling that type of hit and run playstyle makes it Slowking is not only not passive, but it's arguably very aggressive, offensive enabling Pokemon. And for something that's such a sturdy wall with Regenerator, that's amazing. Eliminating the passivity factor that things like Toxic and Tangrowth have is such a huge leap up. And you're seeing this. Slowking is enabling so many different offensive cores, offensive presences in the metagame, making them much more effective, making them get in more often, and honestly just warping the metagame that we play. One could argue that it's even a restricting factor, and something that makes balance teams too good, which is crazy because everyone's complaining about stall and hyper offense, but realistically speaking, Slowking on balance is arguably the most restrictive, the most defining factor of them all, and that's why we're finding it up in S rank. Next up, we got Zera Aura. That's right, guys. Zera Aura is back in business. Everyone's favorite electric cat is back to paralyzing the foes with fear. The Plasma Fister itself is one of the strongest Pokemon in the metagame, coupled with heavy-duty boots and the ability to run knockoff to cripple many foes. Zera Aura is the master of chip. Zera Aura comes in, it does its little incremental bits of damage, and then it gets that out. The in and out kind of switching, the intermittent progress that it makes is unmatched. Things like Landorus, Team Garchomp, would-be checks, or even hard counters suddenly find themselves only doing it 2 or 3 times over, and that should be enough for most Pokemon, but Zera Aura being paired with many slow pivots and having access to knockoff and volt switch heavy-duty boots makes it so that at the end of the day, it's going to be the last Pokemon in the battle, the last one smiling, and that's just an insane quality that it has. This, coupled with the fact that bulk up sets are thriving right now, it has an electric community, it checks Twinitus Therian, a lot of things going for it. While Dragopo is definitely 1A when it comes to speed control, Zera Aura is arguably 1B. It is clearly one of the best Pokemon metagame, easily in the top 10, and therefore it shot up to A+ in this rise. Speaking of Pokemon shooting up in viability on the offensive end of the spectrum, we got Bisharp and Weavile. That is right, the metagame's in a very dark place right now. We see these two surging in viability, coming all the way down from the C and B ranks of just a couple months ago, all the way here. One could argue it was a reaction to offensive teams lacking Shadow Ball switch-ins from Dragopo, but I argue that not only is it that, but also teams are unprepared for Dark types, and that's why we see our Shifu Rapid raising, spoiler alert, from A- to A, but when we're talking about these Pokemon, it's crazy because you have a lot of Fairy types, like Tapu Fini and Clefable, that realistically speaking should be good against Dark types, except Bisharp and Weavile both have knockoff to cripple them, and secondary stabs, Iron Head is going to clobber Clefable and do neutral damage to Fini. Icicle Crash is going to clobber Clefable from the Weavile, not to mention Triple Axle, forget about it. And Fini isn't going to be living too long either way because it doesn't have recovery instead of Draining Kiss and Leftovers. All in all, these two Pokemon are finding their way into a lot of teams right now, and there aren't many true checks and counters to them. And that's pretty impressive given their, otherwise, lackluster performance in OU over the last couple generations. Moreover, Bisharp and Weavile are here to stay as strong offensive options. Next up, we got Urshifu Rapid Strike. Urshifu Rapid Strike is one of the strongest Pokemon in the metagame. While it does have lots of natural check, Slowbro, Toxapex, Dragonite even, if you find the right team for it, it's going to go ham. It has the ability to check Dark types, it can Revenge Kill Volcarona with Aqua Jet, or even Extra Home Sand with Aqua Jet. And Surging Strikes, Close Combat, they're mad strong. They're as strong as Urshifu Single Strike, unsurprisingly, which makes it not really a shocker to see it that great. The metagame is going in its favor. It really pairs nicely with Future Sight. It does well against the Dark types. All in all, we're just seeing more and more reasons to use Urshifu Rapid. While it doesn't have the best defensive presence, especially in the special end, there are still many ways to exploit it and fit it onto your teams. Next up, we got Volcarona. I'm not talking about that Pokemon. Next up, we got Blissey. I'm not talking about that Pokemon. Next up, we got Toxapex. I'm not talking about that. No, I'm kidding. Alright, so we got the ungodly trio. Two of them rising up, one of them falling down. Let's do it. Volcarona, it clicks Quiver Dance and it sweeps. It's able to really handpick its own checks and counters, besides Heatran, which is huge. Well, besides Heatran and especially defensive Tyranitar, even that, you get like Bug Buzz on offensive sets, which can't 3KO, so you're there. But the thing is, with Safeguard, it's able to really sit on Blissey and Chansey and even some other Pokemon as well that can beat it via status. With Giga Drain, it could hit on some things like Unaware Quagsire, like Gastrodon. With Bug Buzz, you hit Tyranitar. You hit a lot of Psychic types like Slowking, Slowbro, Hydreigon, etc. With Psychic, you're able to hit Toxapex, Como-o, a lot of neutral things as well. Hits Dragapult neutrally, with Fire Blast, you're able to do more damage at +1, getting the kills on things like Zera Aura and Twinitus T potentially. You kind of can pick and choose your surroundings. Roost gives you the longevity against a whole slew of Pokemon. All of a sudden, Volcarona is really able to adapt and fit on the right team. You're able to abuse certain checks and counters with your other teammates, and you could kind of say, okay, my set's not going to cover this. And that's how it works, and that's why it's so consistent. So that's pretty cool in my eyes. I definitely like that. Next up, we got Blissey. Blissey is just a special sponge that no longer is passive thanks to Teleport. It has great utility options, Thunder Wave, Stealth Rock, Toxic, even Healing Wish can be run on it. You name it, Confide for your Calm Minders, sure, why not? Blissey is a very impressive special pivot. While it is easy to abuse, you got the Dark types, you got Urshifu Rapid, you got Zera Aura, a Pokemon that can really pummel it to the ground. It still is a great switch into many special attackers, especially things like Choice Specs, Dragapult that they can pivot in and out of and really minimize the effectiveness of, which is a very strong selling point for Blissey. Toxapex, finally it's dropping. Get out of here, Gilbert. We don't need to ban Toxapex. The metagame is handling it for us. We got Future Sight plus Teleport, completely minimizing any damage and effectiveness Toxapex may do, and making it so it's a liability defensively, which is crazy. Not to mention we got things like Magma Storm Heatran, Comment plus Thunderbolt Clefable, Hurum, Nidoking, Landorus, Garchomp, Tapu Koko, Zera Aura, all of these Pokemon just completely dumpstering on Toxapex and then some. The metagame is not friendly to Toxapex. When Slowking is ruling the tier, it's time for Toxapex to take a trip down from A+ to A, and that is where it shall reside for the time being. Next up, we got Twinitus Therian, the most wild and inaccurate Pokemon in modern OU, in my opinion. Hurricane, Focus Blast, even Heat Wave, they all have a chance of missing, with the former two having a 30% chance of miss. It's absolutely crazy how potentially strong or potentially negative Twinitus T's impact on your team with it can be. While Twinitus T can be a potent threat if accurate and has the right coverage moves for the situation, it can also be a complete liability. If you miss with an offensive Twinitus T, odds are you're going to pay the price, either in terms of positioning or outright losing your more fragile bird. While the pivot sets and the utility sets are very effective, it does face stiff competition from other defoggers. Overall, it's kind of facing its limitations. It's facing strong competition in the OU metagame right now. While Twinitus T is still one of the better Pokemon, it maybe fell from top 5 to top 10, and now it's more close to top 15, top 20. It's really interesting to see how it'll work. Maybe we'll see more sets with Air Slash, or maybe just outright utility sets. They definitely do have a place in this metagame, so we'll have to wait and see. Stay tuned for that, my friends. Speaking of Pokemon on the decline, another defensive Pokemon dropping off a little bit is Spherothorn. This one of our favorite spikers does face more competition with Skarmory now, which is reliable at A- in viability when previously was down in the C ranks. But in addition, something that also faces strong competition with is Steel types. You can't fit Spherothorn onto a team with Corviknight in all likelihood. it's just going to be hard. Even Heatran, Excadrill, and again, aforementioned Skarmory or Melmetal, Bisharp, you get the drill, you get the idea. All those Pokemon make it harder to fit Spherothorn in a team. Not impossible necessarily, but harder. This coupled with the fact that we see it matching up poorly with defoggers like Zapdos, even Tornadus T and Corviknight, make it so that Spherothorn's defensive niche just isn't there. It doesn't really counter things. It's oftentimes getting skull burnt, knocked off, longevity being diminished, and it's hard for Spherothorn to really get its ground and gain its footing in this metagame to the point we're going to drop it from A+ to A right now. Other things that are going to be dropping are going to be Hydreigon, Hippowdon, Mandibuzz, Nidoking, and Tapu Fini. Let's talk about it. Hydreigon, a great Pokemon, but without Spectre in the tier, it loses one thing that it really needs to check. Coupled with the fact that while it checks Shadow Ball, Dragopo, Draco Meteor, forget about it. Heatran, great, it can check it, but it's got to watch out for Toxic and offensive variants on top of that. It gets Flick Flash Cannon. Oh no, Eruption? You never know. The fact of the matter is that Hydreigon just doesn't provide enough defensively right now to justify over some other Pokemon, Dragopo in particular, on the right team. Therefore, meaning that, its usage is going to go down a little bit, viability going to go down a little bit. Unfortunate. Hippowdon, it's a ground type, it's durable, it gets Stealth Rock, but it's not able to do anything against Corviknight. Completely blank by that. That coupled with the fact that the tier has a whole slew of proactive, non-passive ground types, Volt Switch immunities, and even non-ground type Volt Switch immunities like Zera Aura, that makes it harder to fit. While some dedicated stand teams are going to be able to use it and make use of it very nicely in the long haul, it also faces stiff competition from Tyranitar in that front, overall making it so that the usage of Hippowdon just naturally goes down when it faces more and more competition from every single side. Same reason Nidoking's arguably dropping in viability. While it's not passive like Hippowdon can be, it also faces stiff competition. You're not going to really want to use 3 or 4... Oh, come on, phone. Stop ringing. 1 second, guys. My bad, not the most professional moment, but we're going with it, we're riding it. Nidoking is not going to be seen on a lot of teams with other ground types. In Landorus T, Garchomp, it's no shock that they're dominating the usage charts right now. Moreover, defensively, it really only does well against Pokemon like Tapu Koko and Clefable, and even those Pokemon it can't handle very well in the long haul. Nidoking, you need to build specifically around, and it doesn't provide the premium offensively to really warrant that. There are more threatening offensive presences in the metagame right now, and while it still has unmatched coverage and great strength on the special side, it's just kind of coming back down to earth, unfortunately. Speaking of coming back down to earth, another Pokemon that is more of a lower tier Pokemon historically is Mandibuzz, and while Heavy Duty Boots definitely improves its viability and it's likely an OU Pokemon to stay, Mandibuzz is struggling right now. With the abundance of knockoff and Toxic on Landorus T, or Toxic, or even Stone Edge on Garchomp, all of a sudden Mandibuzz is struggling with common Stealth Rockers while it already struggled with the likes of Tyranitar and Toxic Hippowdon and Heatran. All of a sudden, it's really, really, really coming back down to earth. Mandibuzz, while it's great against Dragopo, one of the few things keeping it in OU clearly by usage, it definitely doesn't have the same metagame presence. It isn't as much of a staple as it was during the Spectrum metagame or at any point prior, falling down to B+ finally after a long time in the A ranks. And last but not least, Tapu Fini. Really, did anyone wake up and say, oh yeah, let's use Fini? I mean, I get it, the Common Draenicus, that's cool. Trick Scarf definitely is a niche, but it's more of a streaky Pokemon right now, unfortunately. The defog set's at an all-time low, and the Choice Scarf set only fits on a very limited amount of teams right now. All in all, Tapu Fini, less consistent than you'd like for an A-rank Pokemon, and because of that, it fell down from A- to B+. What do you guys think of these rankings? Did we get it right, or should some of these be swapped, or potentially changed outright? Let me know down below in the comments. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do wholeheartedly appreciate your support. We got a lower tier to the top video coming up tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Thank you guys all for watching. Alright, later.